Hi, folks. Welcome to the podcast. This is TZarFunck Productionz podcast, and this is the video cast, which is project number 3 of a 4 project series based on the foundational work toward self-actualization. And when I refer to self-actualization, I just in my mind, it refers to being able to stay in flow and just on a neutral base, irrespective of what life throws at you. We are not looking for utopian bliss here, but we are going to be testing out varying tools and methods, and we're going to see which one sticks. You are welcome to join me on this journey. I just want to inform you on what this podcast is and how I'm approaching it. So this is the TZarFunck Productionz podcast. TZarFunck Productionz is a creative production agency which I have founded, and essentially we explore alternative events for interesting humans. And what I mean is, if your event is too forward thinking and too risque for the community center, you come to TZarFunck. If you have too many obstacles in having your event done, you'll come to TZarFunck. If you have a crazy idea and you'd love to execute it, you come to TZarFunck Productionz. So this is where I am. My name is Z. I am a middle-aged woman, born a female. My pronouns are she, her. I can't believe I'm saying that. Uh, I recently started this podcast because of a promise I had made to myself about 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I promised myself that if I get through this transition phase, I will do everything I've always ever wanted to do, which is basically 2 things. Well, 5 if you think about it, but the top 2 is having a podcast, having TZarFunck Productionz, and then there is the elusive bee farming for if and when I decide to retire. But in order to get there, I have learned with many years of experience with interesting perspective from very many different humans in different spaces and places. I have learned that in order for us to achieve anything in our lives and to feel settled to some degree, it requires a lot of reflection and understanding. Well, not everyone needs reflection and understanding to live a very healthy, happy life. Some people are very happy with the superficial stuff. And they just float through life like it's gonna be okay. I, on the other hand, I need assurances and reassurances. I need to be the leader. I need to be the one involved in the strategy and when things go wrong, if I was the one involved in the strategy, I feel a lot more encouraged to change direction. But if it's something that happened from outside of my control, I am less likely to be kind and gentle about the situation. I do not know if this experience reflects is the same for anyone else or if anyone else has gone through this. But anyway, I digress. Let's get back to it. TZarFunck Productionz, we are just exploring self actualization via the stories of others. I love to call this an edutainment podcast production because I'm hoping that a lot of what I share and insights I provide allows you to connect things in a different way and synthesize information in a different way and end up with an alternative perspective and alternative outlook. Um, but anyway, to get right back into it, there's a really grand reason for me wearing sunglasses. You must be wondering why I'm wearing sunglasses in my bedroom. Well, for one, I've got direct sun hitting me. Number two, I this video podcast is slightly different from the voice cast. The voice podcast is essentially open for everyone from 18 and over, and there we're focusing on the most pertinent foundational work. Therefore, it's open to the public. I really feel that that is really important work, and people of all ages from all places in the world would benefit from understanding how important it is to reset your foundation, right? Whatever you've built, if it's not working out, tear it right down, start over, find new ground, start digging. And I think this is where we are. We are, if I continue to use the building analogy, well, I started using the building analogy in the voice podcast, I may as well continue here. So this is it. If you are imagining building a house, right, whatever your life, whatever's happening in your life and has brought you to my podcast, and the roof's caved in, walls have come down, and you're standing there and you're looking at this mess of a property. You're like, there's nowhere to go, right? There's no safety in it. It's completely broken down. For some of us, the cracks are beginning to appear in the walls. And we're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on. What's happening here? For those of us just noticing the cracks, I'm going to say pause and breathe. Pause and breathe, my humanoid friend. It's going to come down. Nothing we can do about it. I think the less direct way to say it is the only way out is through. Okay, so we're going to go through this experience together. So you've got this building, walls are coming down. Some wherever you are in your stage of self-actualization and reflection and redefining, and maybe you're starting right from the beginning where it's kind of like where you in reproduction and you're trying to reproduce some kind of result that you have previously produced and you just can't. And that's when you realize that, oh my gosh, everything I thought was real is breaking, it's falling apart, really testing. So now we need new ground. We need to dig again. And this is where this video cast is. It's me digging, right? There's a reason why I'm wearing shades, okay? And I will always be wearing shades on this podcast because we're going to be doing shadow work. And I'm taking you along the journey with me, okay? All of my research, my weekly shadow work journals, everything. I'm going to put it right out there. I'm going to try my best to protect people in my personal and professional life to the best way I can. But for the large part, I think I'm going to be all out there. And I want to thank you for taking a chance and subscribing to the video cast. This is where things get very, very intimate, very it's going to be a very special space. We will be breathing together loads. A lot of this work will be done on a live video broadcast because I also believe it's that energy exchange is sometimes helpful and quite worth it, quite frankly. I would really love everybody to really get a full sense of what it looks like to be doing the work, right? People are testing journals online, people are testing nail polish online. I've decided, hey, why not test psych tools? Okay, we've got this great big toolbox and so many different models and mediums and approaches to health and wellness. I decided, hey, if I already am always running some kind of project in my brain, okay, why not involve, why not share it? Why not show people quite directly what it looks like when you're using the tools? So when I'm having a panic attack, when I'm having a moment of anger, I really hope that I'm able to share the true full expression of all of those and then try to manage it. Okay. Um, let's just talk a little bit about house rules, what this podcast would look like, disclaimers, and all of that. So, first of all, I'd like to read you something and just to give you a kind of note on where I am and what this project is, okay? So, I made a few notes, okay? So currently, my personal exploration of self-directed psychoanalysis is based on Jungian shadow work. And I believe it is important work, especially in the quest for self-actualization. I have observed over a long stretch of time and experience, both of self and other, that one of the most neglected areas in recovery from challenges we encounter from time to time is our sensuality and sexuality. In somatic therapy, we use our bodies for awareness, which helps recognize tension spots in the body as well as conjure calming thoughts. I view an exploration and understanding of one's senses and sexuality as one of the most pertinent resources for both internal and external resourcing and shadow work, which helps people recall resources in their lives, such as special people and places that promote feelings of calm, safety, and enhanced self confidence. Therefore, I have concluded that there must be a grand benefit to the hedonistic directed recovery. If there wasn't, it would not have been controlled or demonized. Thus, I present to you Project 4, Tension and Release. So, what is tension and release? Well, tension and release is really the basis for my exploration I have realized that a lot of the times I have the inability to deal with the gnarliness of the very, very temporary emotion. Sometimes it explodes out of me in the form of rage, like a volcanic eruption. And sometimes it's like tears like a monsoon, right? I don't know how we could be so materialist when even our emotions are reflective of the weather on this planet. Just sit with that. Just think about it. Think about a smile like a ray of sunshine, right? A hot summer's day. That's joy, right? Feelings of peace and calm for me bring in notions of, breeze in the early morning. There's nothing like it. So much of ourselves is reflected in nature and in the environment around us. It is important for us to understand who we are, where we come from, and where we're heading. And with having a shaky foundation, it's impossible to live a life that feels fulfilled. We're not going to have, there are always going to be bad actors. There are always going to be challenges. There are always going to be struggles, right? Nothing we can do about that. But what we can do is start the internal exploration. Get to a stage where no matter the weather, we are impenetrable, cannot lose, we cannot move. We are well grounded and rooted in the sense of knowing, in a sense of calm. There's an Arabic word for it, it's yaqeen, which means that there isn't a direct English translation, but the best description would be to just have some kind of knowing, right? Like a wisdom, and being able to sit in that knowledge and sit in that truth, and then and no matter the weather, that wisdom, that innate knowing that this too shall pass and everything will be okay. That's essentially what it all comes down to. Getting back to the sunglasses, I will explain to you a little bit some of the concepts that I've been going through. Again, shadow work. Shadow work, this is what is the shadow? The shadow is a critical psychological insight from the work of psychiatrist Carl Jung. The shadow is the dark side of our personality because it consists of chiefly primitive, negative human emotions and impulses such as rage, envy, greed, selfishness, desire, and the striving for power. Everything we deny in ourselves, whatever we perceive as inferior, evil, or unacceptable, becomes part of the shadow. Anything incompatible with our chosen conscious attitude about ourselves is regulated on the dark side. So the shadow is your disowned self. The shadow is that part of ourselves that we are too afraid to share, things that we are ignoring within ourselves. So the goal of shadow work is to harmonize the opposing tensions within the psyche. So we become less one-sided, build consciousness, so we become more aware of who we are, and then move toward psychic wholeness, which is a symbolism of returning home to oneself. Which brings me to the reason why I'm wearing shades and why this is a video cast without any guests, and why it's in my bedroom. So, a lot of symbology in the first episode. I know, I'm sorry. I'm not light and easy. I'm heavy, deep, thoughtful, and most importantly, I'm impactful. So, stick around if you like. If not, that's okay too. Thank you for joining me on this exploration. So the first few weeks of this cast, of my video cast, we're going to be doing some groundwork and understanding concepts, which means on my white wall behind me, I will have up some notes on what we're working on. I will have in the description box, I will have show notes with links to the shadow journal I'm exploring this week. I'm going to try my best to only use free resources on the internet. That's the other thing I want to teach everyone. And I want us to go at this as fast as we can, as soon as possible, because everything free on the internet is disappearing behind their walls. So we're going to try our best. If anyone has difficulty downloading any of the journals I'll be sharing online or documents I create online to share with you for the shadow work exploration, feel free to contact me and let me know. Again, very similar to the voicecast, I have not yet started my in-depth research. I'm really just building this organically. I would like to take you on this journey with me and show you what it looks like to do the work in a sense, because I think a lot of people are confused about what it means. Everybody says, oh, something wrong with you. Do the work and you'll be better. Do the work and you'll achieve enlightenment. What the hell is the work, right? Is the work calming myself down? At what stage am I being angry at myself, and at what and how do I discern being provoked versus an internal disposition of uneasiness, right? Maybe the provocation wasn't the problem. Maybe I am the problem, and that doesn't ring true to me. So how do we find our balance? How do we make sense of consistent injustice? How do we raise ourselves up from the depths of despair and self-hate and confusion and distrust? How do we pick ourselves up from rock bottom? There's only one way to do it. That's to go through. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. There's going to be a lot to explore. I look forward to you joining me for so much more. Bring your shades, bring your drink, bring your diary, bring your notebook, um, and let's have fun exploring ourselves together. This is Tension and Release, Project 304, a videocast by TZarFunck Productionz, exploring the shadow, and me sharing with you what self-directed psychoanalysis looks like. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. Oh, P.S. Public service announcement. I am not a therapist. I am not a psychiatrist. I am not anything I'm not a professional. For anything that comes up in the show, especially around the work we are doing, I would encourage you to get help and get support. Mm, I can tell you this with absolute certainty. I am a leader, I am a healer, and I am Z. Love you.